here again. I'm in this little booth. I'm reading Tobacco Road by Erskine Caldwell, Chapter 3. Originally, this library did not have it, so I went to the other library because they have it. But here I can check it out. I like this one better for some reason. The words are bigger, which helps me because I'm going blind. Actually, I'm not going blind. I think my sight's all right, but these help when I'm feeling squinty. And I feel squinty lately. But I was gonna wait a half a minute, see if anybody comes in. I got well, not a lot. I got a couple comments from people that you might know, feeling a little disappointed that they missed my last readings. So I'll wait a half a minute. Oh, it's Tammy. Yeah, I want to find out if he has any other books. I'm not sure at all. I'm sure he does. But I got some other favorites that I want to read. And it helps to read. I mean, it helps me to read, to do this. Do it this way. Oh, I just found something. I have my bag of tricks here, and I just found something in it. You know what this is, Tammy? Nowadays, they call it a jaw harp. Who am I talking about books? I don't know. Tom Robbins, Patrick Rothfuss, Jerzy Kosinski. Who else? Well, a lot of children's books. I love children's books. How's the sound and the quality? Am I all glitchy? Last time I was in this library, it was all glitchy, and I can't see if it is or not. I had my hair done especially for this stream. And it takes me like 15-20 minutes to get prepared with all the stupid little things that I have to do on YouTube. Like, well, first I got to connect to the Wi-Fi, and everything's a chore because my phone's just like, it takes time for like the keyboard to come up and all these things. And then like it'll automatically just delete itself. I don't understand these things. But anyway, let's get to chapter 3 because I only have an hour in this booth, and I turned the lights down, which I think helps. Let's see what it's like with the lights on. Yeah, I don't know. We don't need the lights on. There. Jew's harp. I just got him. I used to. I think I brought some children's books actually. Yeah, I did. And I brought a notebook, so if I want to take any. Yeah, thanks. I brought my notebook for notes. Oh, do I have a pen though? Yes, I do. Oh, you know what I don't have though? Is a dictionary. So hold on, I'll be right back. mind. I can't find it. I'm not gonna just go searching around the library. I'm just gonna start reading. If there's a word I don't know, I'm just gonna pretend like I know it. All right. Yeah, no luck with the dictionary. Jeter's reiterated and insistent plea for turnips was having less and less effect upon Love. He was not aware that anyone was talking to him. He was interested only in Ellie Mae now. You remember Ellie Mae with the hair lip? Ellie Mae's straining for love, ain't she? Dude said, nudging Jeter with his foot. She's liable to bust a gut if she don't look out. The inner tube Jeter was attempting to patch again was on the verge of falling into pieces. The tires themselves were in a condition even more rotten. In the Ford car, 14 years old that year, appeared as if it would never stand together long enough for Jeter to put the tire back on the wheel, much less last until it could be loaded with blackjack for a trip to Augusta. 14 years old. I wonder how old my car is. Let's do a little math for a second here. Probably not a good idea while I'm reading, but that's the great thing about my own channel. I can do what I want. Just like in my own life, I do what I want. I try to. Let's see. I don't read, what is that, Chinese? I don't know what that means. So it's, what is it, 2026? My car's a 2007. So what is that? 16, 7, 9. Okay. So my car is 19 years old. Believe that. Believe that. But this isn't 1937. I think probably the cars were in better shape back then. Yeah, you got a little Chinese symbol with a little A next to it, plus the thumb. The touring car's top had been missing for 7 or 8 years, and the one remaining fender was linked to the body with a piece of rusty baling wire. All the springs and horsehair had disappeared from the upholstery. The children had taken the seats apart to find out what was on the inside, and nobody had made an attempt to put them together again. Wait a second. Have I read this? Yeah, I did. I already read chapter 3. I don't remember it, though. I'm going to have to go back and change my... I always have to do that anyway with the... what's the word? On the description in the YouTube description of my post or whatever, I always have to change it from private to public, even though it says public. All right, let's get there. Okay, Jeter, chapter 4. Hey, Shannon, you made it. I just started reading chapter 3 of Tobacco Road, but then I was just like, I read this already. So we're reading chapter 4, and I haven't even started it yet. So you're just in time. And I'm at another library, and they have this copy, which I actually can take out because I belong to this one. Ow! The guy keeps looking at me though. I hope there's not any sound recording in here. Actually, I don't care. Chapter 4, Tobacco Road, 1937, by Erskine Caldwell. I'm going to read the little synopsis, too, while you guys are here, because I didn't even do that the first time, because the first book I was using doesn't have that. Tobacco Road is one of the most widely read and discussed books of our time. And now this book came out in 37, remember? Or actually, this version was 1940. So, what, 8 years later? Brilliantly realistic in its picture of moral and physical decay among the impoverished sharecroppers and tenant farmers of the South, this novel has been universally acclaimed for its high literary merit and for its socially significant viewpoint. Throughout the book, there runs a skillfully drawn thread of rich humor, imparting to the reader a sympathetic understanding of the shocking state in which many Americans still live. Erskine Caldwell has long been regarded as one of our foremost writers, and most readers would give Tobacco Road a prominent place in the list of his writings. And I wonder if there's like a... Oh yeah, he also wrote a book called God's Little Acre, which I did read, but I cannot remember whatsoever. But I will read it. I will read it. Bet your ass I will. Chapter 4. Again. Jeter carefully laid the pump aside and crept stealthily to the corner of the house. He propped his feet and leaned against the rotten weatherboards to wait. From where he stood, he could see everything. When Jeter looked straight ahead, Ellie Mae and Love were in full view, and if he had wanted to see Ada, he could have turned his head slightly and seen her standing on the porch. There was nothing for him to do now but wait. Love was moving farther and farther away from the sack. Ada once more rolled the snuff stick to the other corner of her mouth. She had been watching Love and Ellie Mae ever since they began getting together, and the closer they crawled to each other, the more calm she became. She was waiting, too, to ask Love to make Pearl come to see her soon. Pearl had not been there since the day she was married. Pearl was so much like Ada, in both appearance and behavior, that no one could have mistaken them for other than mother and daughter. When Pearl married Love, Ada had told her she ought to run away from him before she began bearing children and go to Augusta and live at the mills. Pearl, however, did not have the courage to run away alone. She was afraid. She did not know what would happen to her in the cotton mills, and she was too young to understand the things she heard about life there. Even though she was between 12 and 13 years old, she was still afraid of the dark, and she often cried through most of the night as she lay trembling on her pallet on the floor. Love was in the room, and the doors were closed, but the creep of darkness seemed to bring an unbearable feeling of strangulation. She had never told anyone how much she feared the dark nights, and no one had known why she cried so much. Love thought it was something to do with her mind. Dude did not have very much sense, and neither did one or two of the other children, and it was natural for him to think that Pearl was afflicted in the same way. The truth was, Pearl had far more sense than any of the Lesters, and that, like her hair and eyes, had been inherited from her father. The man who was her father had passed through the country one day and had never been seen since. He had told Ada that he came from California and was on his way to Texas, and that was all she knew about him. Lately, however, Pearl was beginning to lose some of her fear. After 8 months in the house with Love, she had gradually grown braver, and she had... Ow! I'm stuck! There we go. My foot was stuck. I hate that. I'm gonna take off my shoes. That's it. That's better. Lately, however, Pearl was beginning to lose some of her fear. After 8 months in the house with Love, she had gradually grown braver, and she had even ventured to think that someday she could run away to Augusta. She did not want to live on the sand ridge. The sight of the muddy savanna swamps on one side and the dusty black structure of the coal chute on the other was not as beautiful as the things she had once seen in Augusta. She had been to Augusta once with Jeter and Ada, and had seen with her own eyes girls who were laughing and carefree. She did not know whether they worked in the cotton mills, but it made little difference to her. Down there on the Tobacco Road, no one ever laughed. Down there, girls had to chop cotton in the summer, pick it in the fall, and cut firewood in winter. Jeter pushed himself erect from the corner of the house and began moving slowly across the yard. He lifted one foot, held it in the air several seconds, and put it on the ground in front of him. He had crept up on rabbits like that many times in the woods and thickets. They would be sitting in a hollow log or in a hole in a gully, and Jeter would creep upon them so noiselessly that they never knew how he caught them. Now he was creeping up on Love. Love in this book is spelled L-O-V. L-O-V. They should spell it that way anyway, I think. Halfway across the yard, Jeter suddenly broke into a terrific plunge that landed him upon the sack of turnips almost as quickly as the bat of an eye. Jeter made it to the turnips. He could have waited a few minutes longer and... Oh yeah, he could have waited a few minutes longer and reached it with the same ease as with which he caught rabbits. But there was no time to lose now, and he was far more anxious to get the turnips than he had ever been to catch a rabbit. He hugged the sack desperately in both arms, squeezing it so tight that watery turnip juice squirted through the loosely woven burlap in all directions. The juice squirted into his eyes, almost blinding him, but it was as pleasant to Jeter as summer rainwater, and far more welcome. These booths give me claustrophobia. They're really small. This is the single. I was in the double before. This is like a shower stall without the water or the drain, so I can't pee in it. I could. All right. Ada took one step forward, balancing herself against one of the porch uprights. Dude jumped to his feet, holding to the chinaberry tree behind him. Love turned around just in time to see Jeter grab the sack and hug it in his arms. Ellie Mae tried to hold Love where he was, but he succeeded in twisting out of her arms and dived for Jeter and the turnips. Ellie Mae turned over just in time to clutch wildly at his foot, and he fell sprawling from mid-air to the hard ground. Each of the Lesters, without a word having been spoken, was prepared for concerted action without delay. Dude dashed across the yard towards his father. Ada ran down the porch steps, and the old grandmother was only a few feet behind her. All of them gathered around Jeter in the sack, waiting. Ellie Mae still clung to Love's foot, pulling him back each time he succeeded in wiggling his body a few inches closer to Jeter. The tips of Love's finger never got closer than 3 feet to the sack. I didn't tell you no lie about Ellie Mae, did I? Dude said. Didn't I tell you right, Pa? Hush up, you dude, Ada scowled. Can't you see your pa ain't got no time to talk about nothing? Jeter thrust his chin over the top of the sack and looked straight at Love. Love's eyes were bulging and bloodshot. He thought of the 7.5 miles he had walked that morning, all the way to the other side of Fuller and back again, and what he saw now made him sick. Ellie Mae was doing her best to pull Love back where he had been. He was trying to get away so he could protect his turnips and keep the Lesters out of the sack. The very thing he had at first been so careful to guard against when he stopped at the house had happened so quickly he did not know what to think about it. That, however, had been before Ellie Mae began sliding her bare bottom over the sandy yard towards him. I didn't realize Ellie Mae was bare-bottomed. He realized now what a fool he had been, to lose his head and his turnips too. The 3 Negroes were straining their necks to see everything. 3 Negroes are still on Tobacco Road watching. They had watched Ellie Mae and Love with growing enthusiasm until Jeter suddenly descended upon the sack, and now they were trying to guess what would happen next in the yard. Ada and the old grandmother found 2 large and heavy sticks and tried to pry Love over on his back so Ellie Mae could reach him again. Love was doing everything in his power to protect his sack, because he knew full well that if Jeter once got 20 steps ahead of him, he would never be able to catch him before all the turnips were eaten. Jeter was old, but he could run like a rabbit when he had to. Don't be scared of Ellie Mae, Love, Ada said. Ellie Mae ain't going to hurt you. She's all excited, but she ain't got the rough kind at all. She won't hurt you. Ada prodded him with the stick and made him stop wiggling away from Ellie Mae. She jabbed him in his ribs as hard as she could, biting her lower lip between her teeth. Them niggers look like they's going to come in the yard and help Love out, Dude said. If they come in here, I'll bust them with a rock. They ain't got no business helping Love. They ain't thinking of coming in here, Ada said. Niggers has got more sense than trying to interfere with the white folks' business. They don't dare come. The colored men did not come any closer. They would have liked to help Love, because they were friends of his, but they were more interested in waiting to see what Ellie Mae was going to do than they were in saving the turnips. Ellie Mae was sweating like a plow hand. Love had got sand all over him, and she was trying to wipe it off with a corner of her gingham Mother Hubbard. See, if I had a dictionary right now, I would look up what a Mother Hubbard was. I imagine it's some sort of clothing, I guess. Maybe like a muumuu. That's what I imagine it to be. A muumuu. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Let's just read that again. Ellie Mae was sweating like a plowhand. Love had got sand all over him, and she was trying to wipe it off with the corner of her gingham Mother Hubbard and to get to him again. Yeah, that would make sense. Love made a final and desperate plunge for the sack, and although he succeeded in getting nearly a foot closer to it, Ada hit him on the head with the blackjack stick so hard he slumped helpless on the ground with a weak groan. Ellie Mae was upon him in a single plunge, her excited feline agility frightening him almost out of his mind. His breath had been knocked from him by the force of Ellie Mae's weight falling on his unprotected stomach, and her knees digging into him with the pain of a mule's kick kept him from being able to breathe without sharp pains in his lungs. He was defenseless in her hold. While Ellie Mae held him, his arms pinned to the ground, Ada stood over him with her heavy blackjack pole, prepared to strike him over the head if he again tried to get up or to turn over on his stomach. The old grandmother waited on the other side with her stick held high and menacing above her head. She muttered under her breath all the time, but no one paid any attention to what she was trying to say. Just Nellie. Is that you, Mo? What do you mean game? Game of Thrones? I love that movie. I love that show. Chapter 4, Tobacco Road. Has these turnips got them damn blasted green-gutted worms in them, love? Jeter said. By God and by Jesus, if they're wormy, I don't know what I'm going to do about it. I've been so sick of eating wormy turnips. I declare I almost lost my religion. It's a shame for God to let them damn blasted green-gutted worms bore into turnips. Us poor people always get the worst end of all deals, it looks like to me. Maybe he don't intend for humans to eat turnips at all. Maybe he wants them raised for hogs, but he don't put nothing else down here on the land in their stead. Won't nothing but turnips grow in the wintertime. Yeah, I couldn't remember your channel name. I hardly remembered anything. I hope you guys don't hear all these notifications I keep getting. They're real annoying to me. I don't know how to change my settings. I tried and they just stay. Auntie Nellie. Well, I just see it's at just Nellie. You hear the ding? Oh well. Where was I? Oh, he's cursing God for the blasted green-gutted worms. Ellie Mae and Love had rolled over and over a dozen or more times like tumblebugs. Then they finally stopped. Love was on top. Ada had followed them across the yard, and the grandmother too, and they stood ready to climb Love with the blackjack poles if he showed the first sign of trying to get up before Ellie Mae was ready to release him. Oh, I've been through hell, Mo. Hell. And back. Hell and back, New Hampshire. You ever been there? Oh. I've been under demonic attack or possession and psychotronic warfare. It got pretty bad at the end of, the end of December, early January. It was a few weeks straight of targeted attacks on me. But I have protection. I kind of took off when... It's a long story. If you email me, I think my email's in my... I have all this weird pain, too. I think it's smart dust. I don't know what it is. But anyway, my email's in my bio if you want to reach out. Reach out! Where was I? While the others were in the far corner of the yard, Jeter suddenly jumped to his feet, hugging the sack of turnips tight to his stomach, and ran out across Tobacco Road towards the woods beyond the old cotton field. He did not pause to look back over his shoulder until he was nearly half a mile away. In another moment, he had disappeared into the woods. The Negroes were laughing so hard they could not stand up straight. They were not laughing at Love. It was the actions of the Lesters that appeared so funny to them. Ada's serious face and Ellie Mae's frantic determination furnished a scene none of them could look at without laughing. They waited until everyone had quieted down, and then they went slowly down the road towards Fuller, talking about what they had seen in the Lester yard. Thanks, Mo. Yeah, it's a long story. When I disappeared is when all the shit started. My relationship with the Sasquatch ended because I didn't know who I was talking with. Because they were giving me, not them, because things went crazy, and I started getting like commands and stuff, and being told to go places, and I stopped sleeping. I was awake for 3 months straight. People tell me that I'm lying, or that I would die after 6 days of being awake, but I remember it well. But anyway, if you got a calendar, jot this down. I'm gonna be on a podcast in early May, which is coming right up, called Bizarre Encounters. Now I know they have a YouTube channel, but I don't know if they have any other format. Like I don't know if they have like a podcast separate from YouTube, or if it's all one, or what. I don't know. The guy doesn't like communicate with me because he wants it all to be sudden, like on the show, like revealing the story of mine, which I think is cool. I'm gonna be talking about a Sasquatch experience, but other questions will come up and it'll be interesting, I bet. I've never talked with anybody on like a program before, so the kids are good. My daughter's 19 and will be 20 next month, and my son is 24. They're both amazing people. Anyway, Ada and the grandmother presently went back to the porch and sat down on the steps to watch Ellie Mae in love. There was no longer any danger of him getting away. He did not even try to get up now. How many scoops full does that number 17 freight engine empty at the chute every morning, love? Dude said. Looks like to me them freight engines take on nearly twice as much coal as the passenger ones do. Them firemen on the freights is always chunking big hunks of coal at the nigger cabins along the track. I reckon that's why they have to take on more coal. I reckon that's why they have to take on more coal. I got lurkers. Now I'm uncomfortable. She just left, but so there's look at stop sign's right because it's mirrored in here. But so there's this, I'm in this thing called a Zen booth. There's the eye. People keep walking by and gawking at me. No, I had to move in with my mother, Mo. I couldn't afford my rent anymore because I couldn't work without sleeping. So my life went to hell. It only just turned around this past August. I was not in a good state. I didn't do anything with my life. Not until the summer. I did a 180 this summer, and I was like, all right. What's that quote from Shawshank Redemption? You remember? Get busy living or get busy dying? Or is it get busy dying or get busy living? It's one of those. Where was I? Why don't you burn coal in your house instead of wood, love? Nobody would know about it. I ain't going to tell on you. If you want to do that, it's a lot easier than cutting wood every day. Mother Lester, the old grandmother, sitting beside her bag of dead twigs, began groaning again and rubbing her sides with her fist. Presently she got up, lifted the bag over her shoulder, and went into the house toward the kitchen. She made a fire in the cook stove and sat down beside it to wait until the twigs burned out. She was certain Jeter would not bring any of the turnips back for her to eat. He would stay in the thicket and eat every one of them himself. Excuse me. What was it say? Mother Lester, that's Jeter's mom. Thanks, Shannon. Yeah, that apartment was awesome. I'm actually in contact with the property manager who lived there as well. I left a bunch of my rocks there, my carving rocks, and I'm gonna go, and some of my bigger mineral specimens, my lepidolite and my schernakite. Lepidolite's like a purplish or lavender stone, and schernakite's a form of muscovite, which is also known as mica. Excuse me, but it looks like cauliflower. They call that botryoidal, I think. Yeah, thank God for Mums is right. I don't know what I would have done. I would be homeless somewhere in some city, in some other part of the country where it's not snowy. I was like really gonna be that guy. But no, and I started working recently and I didn't work because of the same thing. So I'm sleeping about 2 to 3 hours a night now. And I was on Ambien for like a year. I started getting out into the woods. Me and Shannon both do woods. The medication they put me on, because they said I was schizophrenic, and I believed it for a little while until the recent attacks. And I gained like 50 pounds on the medication, and I lost most of it in 2 months. Now I wish I was driving trucks. I'm not driving trucks at all. I'm helping my cousin out a little bit. The work is very scarce, but I did contact the lobster place I was working for last to see if they had any runs, any days, and they said no, but things change in an instant in that business. So they said I'm next in line. So for now I'm done, and my license is good until June. You know what, Shannon? I don't think I've ever had a turnip unless it was like cooked in a soup and I didn't notice it. I think I ought to try. Is it like squash? That's how I imagine it. Mother Lester made a fire in the cook stove and sat down beside it to wait until the twigs burned out. She was certain Jeter would not bring any of the turnips back for her to eat. He would stay in the thicket and eat every one of them himself. While she waited for the fire to die down, she looked into the snuff jar on the shelf, but it was still empty. There had been no snuff in it for nearly a week, and Ada would not tell her where the full jar was hidden. The only time she ever had any snuff was when she accidentally found the jar hidden away somewhere and took some before anyone could stop her. Jeter had knocked her down several times about doing that, and he had said he would kill her if he ever caught her stealing snuff again. There were times when she would have been willing to die if she could only have for once all the snuff she wanted. Why do the firemen blow the whistles more than they Why don't the firemen blow the whistles more than they do, love? Dude said. They hardly blow the whistles at all. If I was a fireman, I'd pull that whistle cord near about all the time. They make a noise about as pretty as an automobile horn does. Dude sat on the pine stump until Love got up and staggered across the yard towards the tobacco road. Love looked all around in every direction, hoping he might see Jeter hiding somewhere close. He was sure that Jeter had gone to the pine woods beyond the old cotton field, though, and he knew it would be a waste of time trying to find him and catch him. It was too late to stop him now. Yeah, rocks are great. I belonged to a club called Maine Mineralogical and Geological Society they're out of South Portland. I think they're actually out of Saco now, which is just south of South Portland. But they used to do field trips and stuff. It was like lottery, so everyone could get a chance, and it was pretty good odds. I usually always won. Less chance when I had my family with me, but they're not interested anymore. Yeah, that's what they do to us, Shannon. They have to label us something crazy because we have the gift. I've done some crazy... So this is one of the crazy little psychic things that I did recently. My cousin said to me... Actually, a couple little stories here I'll talk about real quick. I was in my cousin's truck, and he's like, you know what I hate? And I said, Living Color. And he's like, yeah, I hate that song. You know that song, Cult of Personality? Now, how in the world, out of the million things he could have been talking about, how did I guess that? And he wasn't even a bit surprised, which surprised me. And then another other time, I was at a friend's house recently, and I was thinking to myself, she was playing a song, and I was thinking to myself, I should tell her to put on La Tigra, the song Decepticon. And you know what song she put on after I had thought that? I'll give you one guess. You guess? It was Decepticon by La Tigra. So, yeah, there's funny things. There's a notification. Did you hear the ding? I didn't hear it this time. Sometimes they come down, they don't ding. So, one of my problems is I have this, it's like a permanent kink in my neck where if I go like this just right, it'll pop, but it's not satisfying, which really sucks. I got all these rock cards. They're kind of fun. I don't know why I waste my money on such things. Just because I like them. I think Witch Moon would probably appreciate this. What's this? We got Winger. We got Exodus. We got Skid Row. We got Junkyard. I never heard of them. I'll probably put them on my Spotify and see what's up. What's this one? Salty Dog. Never heard of them. Testament. Yeah, we got a reunion going on, Tammy. Do you know Shannon and Mo? You must know Shannon. Shannon is down in Texas. She does a lot of YouTubes. I believe, Mo, are you still there? Are you in the Massachusetts or Massachusetts still? You see this recent bullcrap they're trying to pull with some new Schmovage strain? It didn't seem to take, which is hilarious to me. All right, where was I? Ellie Mae lay where she was, stretched out flat on the ground on her back. Perspiration had matted her hair against her forehead and neck, and her pink gingham dress was twisted under her shoulders and head in such a way that it made a pillow for her to lie on. Her mouth looked as if it had been torn. Her flaming red upper gum looked like a bleeding, painful wound under her left nostril. Her divided lip quivered, and her body trembled. That's because of the hair lip. Massachusetts. I like Massachusetts. I think I'm the first one to come up with that. I want to take credit for it, but there's no way to, like, copyright that or patent it or anything. You ought to give me them overalls when you're done with them, dude said. I ain't had a new pair of overalls since I can remember. Pa says he's going to buy me and him both some one of these days when he sells a lot of wood. But I ain't putting none too much trust in what he says. He ain't going to sell no wood, not more than a load at a time now way. He tells more lies than any man I ever heard of. I reckon he'd rather lie about it than haul wood to Augusta. He's that lazy he won't get up off the ground sometimes when he stumbles. I've seen him stay there near about an hour before he got up. He's the laziest son of a bitch I ever seen. Love went to the middle of the road and stood there uncertainly, his legs wide apart to keep his balance, and his body swaying backward and forward like a drunken man's. He began brushing the sand off of his clothes and shaking it out of his hair. Sand was in his pockets and shoes, and even his ears were full of it. When is you going to buy yourself an automobile, love? Dude asked. You make a heap of lot of money in that chute. Coal chute. He works at a coal chute. Hold on. For whenever are you still... I've kind of gotten away from the gematria, Tammy, but I still see numbers everywhere I go. I try not to give them too much attention because they kind of drove me insane. I never wore it either, and I got the cops called on me, Mo, at least 4 times in the seacoast area of southern Maine and New Hampshire. New Hampshire. Skull Asylum movies. Yeah, I love that channel, Shannon. I'm there sometimes in the chat. I wish I had another one of me to like just do the things on YouTube, but there's only one of me. Two, three, four. Yeah, I didn't feel strong at the time. Actually, I did feel strong at the time. Those jerks. They were funny though. Funny stories, each one. Maybe I'll tell them sometime. Oh. You make a lot of money at the shoot. You ought to buy yourself a great big car like the ones rich people in Augusta has got. I'll show you how to run it. I know all about automobiles. Pa's old Ford ain't much to look at now, but when it was in good running order, I used to run the wheels off of it sometimes near about. You ought to get one that has got a great big horn on it. Whistles and horns make a pretty sound, don't they, Love? When is you going to get an automobile? Love stood in the middle of the road for the next 10 or 15 minutes, looking out over the top of the sagging brown boom sedge towards the thicket where Jeter was. Jeter stole the turnips. Hey, Allie Berry, I'm doing what you did. I'm reading. You inspired me to read. That's you, isn't it, Allie Berry? Is that your new name, Allie B? Allie Berry? I hope it's you. I think it is. I'm reading Tobacco Road by Erskine. Caldwell. Have you ever read it? He also wrote a book called God's Little Acre. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, God's Little Acre, Erskine Caldwell. After he had waited until he did not know what else to do, he staggered up the road in the direction of his house and the coal chute. Pearl would be at the house when he reached it, but as soon as he walked inside, she would run out the back door and stay until he left. Even if she did not leave the room when he entered the house, she would not look at him nor have anything to say. He could look at her long yellow hair hanging down her back, but that was all. She would not allow him to come close enough to look into her eyes. If he tried to do that, she would certainly run off into the broom sedge. Story takes place in Georgia, 1937, or abouts. Ada and Dude watched him until he was out of sight beyond the rise in the ridge, and then they turned their backs and looked at Ellie Mae in the yard. Dude went to the pine stump and sat down to watch the redwood ants crawl over the stomach and breast of his sister. The muscles of her legs and back twitched nervously for a while, and then slowly the jerking stopped altogether, and she lay still. Her mouth was partly open, and her upper lip looked as if it had been torn wider apart than it naturally was. The perspiration had dried on her forehead and cheeks, and smudges of dirt were streaked over her pale white skin. For nearly an hour she slept deeply in the warm February sun, and when she awoke, her right arm was lying across her mouth where Dude had placed it when he left the yard to get some of the turnips before his father had eaten them all. Ellie Mae has a hair lip, but she's a very nice looking girl. Oh, I didn't know that, Tammy. Let's see if I can figure out how to do this. Oh yeah, there we go. Good to see you, Allie, even if you are just this tiny little circle. You all are tiny little circles. I can't make out what your little icon is, Mo. Cape Cod. Oh, hold on. Let me go back and get. I missed something. Oh, thanks, Allie. Yeah, I haven't read in so long, so reading like this helps me to read. Plus, I get to like chat with people I like, and when I read, I get really distracted anyway. So why not get distracted by chat people? I missed your RFK thing, Mo. Convid. Yeah. Schmovid. I call it Schmovid. People usually know what I'm talking about. I love, I have, yeah, did you share it with everybody, the turtle video, Allie? I sent it to Ceiling Fan Man, who has a YouTube channel that I used to always watch. Hilarious. And good, clean fun. Yeah. Happy late April Fools too, Allie Berry. Everybody. I did so many pranks on people. But oh, they canned your ass? Yeah. They tried to, they wouldn't fire me at my job. They wouldn't let me come in to work though, which was kind of silly because that was just meant less work for me, same pay, and I was getting what do they call it, hazard pay? Oh man, how stupid is that, hazard pay? Because it was such a dangerous time to live in. Meanwhile, the hospitals were empty, nurses were dancing all over the fucking place. 2020 was stupid. Let's finish this chapter. I'm almost done. Oh, I am done. I'll read the last paragraph. For nearly an hour, she slept deeply. Oh, I'm not even going to read it. Ellie Mae fell asleep in the dirt, and Dude put her arm across her face like this because Ellie Mae has a hair lip, and Dude's a good brother. He didn't want anyone staring at her from Tobacco Road. So, chapter 5 is next. I'll probably chop these up into chapters like I do. Anyway, I can chat for a little bit before I do that. I want to reserve this booth for another hour so I can read some more. It's because I have to go to the library to do my readings, Allie, because we don't have any kind of Wi-Fi at home. We don't even have like streaming or anything like that. We don't have internet. I depend solely upon my data on my phone to do things. Some people say data. I say data. Same thing. Let's see here. Let's see. So, this is a great April Fool's joke or prank. Is you just you carry a bunch of blank pieces of paper, like small pieces of paper like this, or maybe a couple of these, maybe even, this is enough too. You put it over the mirror in like your friend's or your family's house, just like this, at head level, and you write mirror out of order. I did that to all like 4 different family members, and I got all the other prank that I did was the old rubber band on the sprayer at the kitchen sink trick. When when my family had turned away or went to another room, I put the rubber band, just like this. I carry these with me because you never know when you're going to be at someone's house, and you can put the rubber band on their sprayer. So do that, and then next time they turn on the water, they get sprayed. It's just water. It's not going to hurt anybody, but it did upset a couple people. Oh boy, I love it. It's good to see you, Nelly. You got my email yet? You have it. You'll get it. Then we'll talk. I'll even give you my phone number if you want to chat. I'm all about it. When my phone's on, it's still I still have a little bit of money this month but work has been kind of on and off. And last month I didn't get my phone time in time. All right, Tammy, thanks for being here. Chapter 4 might be coming up if I can get more time. I gotta go. Actually, I gotta go and I gotta reserve more time. So I'm glad you guys are all here. I'll see you again. Anyway, if you can't find it, I'll just tell you right now. It's likenresolve@gmail. That's Liken, Lichen, resolve, RESOLVE @gmail. Thanks, Allie. I'm glad you're here. You've inspired me. Thank you, everybody, for being here.